sizable number of Republicans remain committed to joining with socialists to attack President Trump and President Trump's supporters. Is there a civil war in the Republican Party? That's the question we attempt to answer in tonight's preamble. Minority Leader Mitch McConnell was asked by one of the few remaining real journalists in America, Bret Baier, about the sizable and obvious schism that exists in the GOP.
It's ahead of this big speech this weekend at Cpac. Should the former president be speaking at Cpac this weekend?
I don't have any advice to give the former president about where he should speak or what he should say.
Okay. Is there a civil war in the GOP currently?
No. I think if you're looking at it for a real civil war, look at the Democrats in the House.
Okay. McConnell is right about the even bigger divide among the socialist Democrats. Some of them can't usher in Chinese control over the American people fast enough. Others in the Democrat Socialist Party are leery of sharing control over the American people with their pals in Beijing. But what about McConnell's contention that there is no civil war in the Republican Party? Well, let's have a look at that. Exhibit 1, should President Trump speak at Cpac?
Do you believe President Trump should be speaking, or former President Trump should be speaking at Cpac this weekend?
Yes, he should.
Congresswoman Cheney?
That's up to Cpac. I've been clear in my views about President Trump and the extent to which following January 6th, I don't believe that he should be playing a role in the future of the party.
Okay. Kevin McCarthy, a man who voted with the Constitution during impeachment, and Liz Cheney, a woman who didn't, ignoring the text of the Constitution. He says Trump should speak to conservatives. She says that Trump has no role in the GOP or the country as far as she's concerned. Now, I think it's fair for me to say that 10 Republicans in the House and 7 Republicans in the Senate who voted with socialists for an unconstitutional impeachment have more interest in finding common ground with those aforementioned socialist Democrats than they do finding common ground with President Trump and his voters. I can say that with confidence because none of those GOP who voted to impeach Trump, even though he never called for violence, none of those Republicans have been even suggesting that Democrats be removed or impeached when those same Democrat socialists actually did call for violence. So let's look at the caliber of folks Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, McConnell, and the rest seek to find common ground with. Joe Biden has nominated one of these socialists to be in his cabinet.
And I'm grateful to the members of my COVID team that I'd like to introduce to you now, who will lead the way. I'm really proud of this group. For Secretary of Health and Education Service, I nominated Javier Baccaria.
His name is actually Javier Becerra, and here he is answering questions before the Senate in his confirmation hearing.
You voted against a ban on partial birth abortion. Why?
So, Senator, here, I understand that people have different deeply held beliefs on this issue, and I respect that. We may not always agree on where to go, but I think we can find some common ground on these issues because everyone wants to make sure that if you have an opportunity, you're going to live a healthy life. And I will tell you that I hope to be able to work with you and others to reach that common ground on so many different issues.
Common ground. Javier Becerra is a loudmouth leftist Latino who was once a congressman and is now the Attorney General of the state of California. With absolutely no professional medical training, Biden wants to make him the HHS secretary. Mr. Becerra doesn't want to ban the Nazi-esque practice of partial birth abortion. Now, I want to caution all of you in the audience. I'm about to describe this procedure, and it's so grotesque and so inhuman that I wanted to give all of you ample warning in the audience in case you might want to briefly turn down the volume so that your kids won't have to hear what these socialist Democrats support. The partial birth abortion procedure starts with labor being induced, usually in the 5th or 6th month of pregnancy, sometimes later. Next, the doctor pulls the baby through the birth canal by its legs, delivering the baby completely except for the head. The doctor then thrusts scissors into the base of the baby's skull. Next, a vacuum tube is inserted into the baby's skull to facilitate the brains being vacuumed out of the head. The baby's skull then collapses, and the dead baby is discarded like yesterday's trash. Socialist Democrats, these are the people that support that kind of thing. These are the people some GOP leaders and high-profile Republicans seek to find common ground with over President Trump and Trump voters. Back to Cpac. Do you all know what the C in Cpac stands for? It stands for conservative. Folks in the press are asking if President Trump should speak at Cpac. You know, I think a more relevant question is, should Republicans be speaking at Cpac, as they are no longer the party of conservatives? Don't take my word for it. Listen to Mitch.
What would you say to Trump supporters who read the president's statement about you and are concerned about the future of the GOP?
What I would say to everybody who's inclined to support our right-of-center Republican Party, let's focus on winning.
There you have it. The GOP is a right-of-center party, not a conservative party. But you and I knew that. They've been betraying the party's alleged conservative planks for decades. Names like Bush, McCain, Liz Cheney, Flake, Corker, Toomey, Kinzinger, Upton, Sass, Murkowski, and countless others. But circling back to the central question here, is there a civil war in the GOP? Now, I think Mitch McConnell is right. There is no civil war. To have a war, you have to have two sides fighting over something of value. And the Republican Party, the way it's currently constituted, doesn't have any value as an opposition party to socialists. You can't have a war when nobody's fighting, right? The Republican Party belongs to Ben Sass, Mitch McConnell, Adam Kinzinger, and Liz Cheney. It doesn't belong to me or any of you or any other conservative out there. As stated, many Republicans united with Democrats to attack us conservatives. Frankly, I just don't think the Republican Party is worth fighting for. I choose to try to save my country. Or as someone once said, put America first. The Democrats are suffering from the #walkaway movement. These are Democrats who don't wish to be socialists or be slaves to communist China. And conservatives are walking away from the right-of-center Republican Party, too. A Republican Party that no longer represents our conservative values. Bring on the Constitutional Patriot Party.
Hi, Emma Reckenberg here. If you like this video, there's a whole lot more to see on Newsmax TV. You can watch for free right here on our YouTube live stream and be the first one here each time our experts break down real news. Just hit that subscribe button, ring the bell icon, and stay with us on America's fastest growing cable news channel, Newsmax TV.